I hate my special needs sister and I'm done hiding it. When my younger sister was born, she almost died from hypoxia. She suffered severe brain damage to the point where doctors doubted she would survive. She has survived and she's 16 years old now. However, she is about as close to brain dead as a living person can get. She can't move, she can't communicate, she can't eat or drink on her own. She has no control over her bowels, so she has to wear diapers. She will never get better and she will never live a normal life. Despite that, my mother has ruined our family, hoping she will have a miracle and recover. My mother has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on my sister, everything from wheelchairs to doctor visits. We had to live in a one-bedroom apartment for 11 years because my mother spent all of the money she made on my sister. And nothing she bought made any difference. She will always be a drooling mess. Since my mother believes she will get better, she made me treat her like she was a real sister. I lost all of my friends growing up because my mom made me take her everywhere I went. If I told my mom I was going to the park, she would say, "Oh, a park? That sounds like something Jess would like. Take her with you." Not once did she stop to think about how absurd she sounded talking to her. One time, my mom took her to a movie theater. They made it barely 30 minutes through the movie before staff kicked her out because my sister was making so much noise, coughing and choking on her saliva. Despite all this, I somewhat tolerated my sister until a few hours ago. I mentioned to my mother that I had planned a date with a girl I met at work. My mom said, "That sounds like fun, but I'm having coffee with a friend from college, so can you take care of Jess while I'm gone?" I told her that I couldn't because of my date and suggested that she hire a babysitter. My mother then said that I should just take her with me. And then I just exploded. I told her how stupid she was for suggesting such a thing. Bring my severely disabled, crippled sister along with me on a date with a girl because you are too lazy to hire a sitter? How crazy are you to think that's a good idea? Every moment of my life has been about Jess. I'm not supposed to have a career or a family of my own because I need to take care of Jess when my mom dies. My mom even discouraged me from going to college because then I wouldn't be able to take care of her. I told her how much damage she has done to the family because of my sister. We struggled financially my entire life, not because my mom is low income, but because she spent all of our money on Jess. We drove a crappy 1996 Subaru Outback for years, and my mom couldn't afford to buy a new car. But she had no problem shelling out thousands to see a specialist doctor who will say the same thing every doctor has. My sister is a glitch. She's not supposed to be here. She will never live a normal life. There's no reason she shouldn't be put in a home. I'm just so frustrated right now. I'm thinking about cutting ties with her and reconnecting with my father. My dad divorced her once he realized that the rest of his life was going to be taking care of Jess. I can't fault him. My mom forbid me from contacting him, but he's not the bad guy here. Am I wrong for not inviting my sister and her kids to Disney with my brother and his kids because I know she can't afford it? I haven't taken my kids on a real vacation since pre-pandemic, but now that we are all vaccinated, I want to take them to Disneyland. My brother Jack, whose kids are about the same age as mine, feel the same. Disneyland is expensive. The trip will cost about $8,000 for each family. My brother and I both have great jobs, so the money is not a struggle for us. My sister Jane is always talking about how broke and underpaid she is and complaining about her student loans. I don't know her salary, but she's a social worker, so I know it's not a ton. Well, my brother and I figured she wouldn't be able to afford it based on a couple of weeks ago when we brought up the idea of a vacation at a Labor Day cookout, and she just went on about how she wishes she could afford a family vacation. Well, since she said she couldn't, we just didn't invite her and planned a trip with our wives and our kids. This weekend, people were over and my nephew, Jack's son, brought up how excited he is for Disney, to which Jane asked about and the details came out. And then Jane got all mad for not getting invited. I told her I didn't invite her because she literally said she couldn't afford a vacation. She then said that I was rubbing it in that we make more money than her and that we could have covered part of her trip and then had a real family vacation with everyone. I just felt that as we're all adults with our own families, we're past the age that I'd be subsidizing her for anything that's not an emergency. But then yesterday she sent a really passive-aggressive text about it basically calling us assholes. So, am I? Am I wrong for telling my dad that if he chooses to go to my stepbrother's graduation, then he better forget about me? I, 18 female, am an only child, and my parents divorced when I was 8. My dad remarried when I was 12, and for a while, everything was fine. But after a few years of living there with them, I started to notice that my dad preferred my stepbrother. They did more things together, and he started to ditch me to go to his games, his plays, his tournaments, etc. For every 10 things I invited him to, he only attended 1 to 2. His wife always gave excuses. "Oh, my son is younger than you. They are really close. His dad is not involved in his life." And told me that at least I was lucky enough to have a dad with me, and specifically one who was willing to share his love. When I was 13, my mother applied for sole custody and won. Only then did I see my dad being hurt that I was being taken away. I started to spend time with my dad, but only if he picked me up to do it. He still missed most of my things, and I've always resented him and his family for it. Since this is my last year, I had a lot of significant activities. I had my last debate, my last volleyball game, I won best essay in my class, got into Best 20 alumni, and finally went to pick my prom dress. Some, if not all of these things he missed because he was working or attending something regarding his family, and I can't have it anymore. My graduation is December 15th, the same as my stepbrother's elementary school, and when I told my dad, he said that he would see if he could make it, which meant he wouldn't, so I came clear. I said that while graduating elementary school is nice, I'm graduating high school and I'm on my way to university, so he can't really compare those things, and if he chooses my stepbrother's graduation, he better forget about me. His wife flipped and told me that I was taking my stepbrother's dad away from a big date and I was being a spoiled brat. I told her that I couldn't be a spoiled brat if I was being ignored the whole time and that I wasn't talking to her. My dad looked shocked, so I said that he could be there for once in his life or he could miss me forever, and left. But now that I've cooled off, I started to feel bad. I love my dad to pieces and I just want him to be there for me too, and I surely don't want to hurt my stepbrother. I was wondering if I was being an asshole for acting how I did because he's paying half of my college fund and I gave him an ultimatum. Plus, my dad is not prone to confrontation while my mother and I are. Am I wrong for canceling the trip after my fiancé decided to bring her 10-year-old son with us? I, 33 male, have been with Natalie, 32 female, for 2 years. We're getting married soon and she shares custody of her 10-year-old son with her ex-husband. Ever since her ex-husband got sick, Natalie kept bringing her son over more often. Sometimes her mom would take him due to work, etc. We've been having issues because of that because Natalie has to bring my stepson with us wherever we go. Yeah, that's kind of part of being a step-parent. Like, that's her son. What do you want her to do? Just leave him in the ditches? Like, duh, what do you mean? We started going out less and less. Since it's been a whole month since we've gone out, and since her ex has gotten better, I've arranged for a little trip to the beach for the weekend. It's supposed to be a couple's getaway. She was excited for it and prepared for everything. The night before the trip, she comes up to me and says, "Hey, Tom is sick again, and he asked if I could take Taylor to spend the weekend with us." I was gobsmacked. I asked what she told him, and she said that she agreed. She then proceeded to tell me that she'd like to take Taylor with us to the beach. I got upset and told her not to bother because the trip was officially canceled. You are really throwing a temper tantrum over her having to take her 10-year-old son. This is her son. This is not her brother. It's not her dad. This is her son. This is the person she's in charge of well-being for. Oh my God, you're supposed to be a stepdad. Like, why are you acting like a little kid? Ugh. She looked at me shocked, but I told her she shouldn't act shocked or surprised after she successfully ruined yet another opportunity for us to have quality alone time together. You don't get that as much as you want because she's a mom. Dummy. She went on about how she couldn't believe that I expected her to ditch her son since her mom was busy as well and getting a babysitter wasn't on the table. I just shrugged and I told her it was done and then I walked out. I went with the guys instead and she's been upset, saying I could have just agreed to let my stepson Taylor come with us and we would have had at least some family time together while Tom gets better. She said I was the one who screwed up. So am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for shaving my head before my cousin's wedding? My cousin, Delaney, 24 female, is getting married soon. And I, 13 female, was asked to be a flower girl in her wedding. Around a month after being asked to be the flower girl, I was diagnosed with anaplastic epidemoma, grade 3. I started chemotherapy and my hair started falling out pretty quickly. I called Delaney and asked her what the hell I was supposed to do about my hair. And she told me that it'd be fine and just leave it alone for as long as I could. We all knew my hair was probably not going to last until the wedding day. And my brother ordered me a wig online. Eventually, a couple days before the bridal shower and rehearsal dinner, nearly half of my hair had come out. And I was so sick of the hot mess that my hair had become that I just cut it all off. The day of the rehearsal dinner, I wore my wig so that Braylon, the family friend that Delaney had asked to be her hairstylist, could figure out how to style it. Delaney walked in as Braylon was showing me how to use wig glue and absolutely lost it. She asked me why I didn't have hair, and I told her, I have cancer. I lost my hair. She called me a selfish brat and said that I didn't have her permission to do anything drastic with my hair before her wedding. Am I the asshole?
Am I wrong for refusing to let my husband's infertile friend name our son? My husband's 33 male best friend, Will, 37 male, is infertile. He got divorced 2 times because of it, and because he lied and hid his infertility. And his life hasn't been the same the day he was told he can't have kids. He has always had a soft spot for children, and when he found out that my husband and I were expecting, he was so thrilled and started buying us gifts and decor pieces that he made from his woodwork for the baby. My husband thinks that those are all nice gestures, but I couldn't help but feel uncomfortable, especially with how much he keeps mentioning the baby. A few days ago, my husband and I found the gender of the baby. The moment moment we told Will, he started calling the baby a random name he picked and was going to give to his baby if he wasn't infertile. He then started begging us to use this name, and my husband said it was a done deal. I refused, but my husband called me heartless and asked me to do this one small, nice gesture for his struggling friend to give him closure and honor him after all the things he has done for us. I flipped and said, "It's my baby, not his." Will heard this and left immediately. My husband yelled at me saying it's his baby too, and my behavior towards Will was aberrant. He left after him and didn't come back till the next morning. He kept saying the same thing and pressuring me to agree on the name, but I refused.